Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Life Chats with Maggie and Bunny. I'm Maggie.
And I'm Bunny.
How are you today, Bunny?
I'm doing great.
So, what do we want to talk about today? What are we going to talk about?
What? You're asking me? So
I am asking you. I think I
yeah,
was asking you.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was doing.
Nobody else
Asking
here?
you.
Just me? Just me? Nobody? No
I
other
can see.
chickens or anybody else? No.
Nope, nobody else here.
Nobody else. Connor not gonna let us know. Yeah, no. So today we were trying to think of topics to come up with like we always do, kind of like we don't pre-think this. And I came on to the idea that maybe we would talk about how we motivate ourselves and what keeps us on track for changes that we make in our life, whether it's through New Year's resolutions where you guys will be listening to this podcast on Monday, January 22nd. So you're a few weeks into the first month of the year, and a lot of people do make New Year's resolutions. Even though we didn't, we did make some new things or try new things and make a new start in
Yeah.
specific things. And so, that kind of stuff, kind of just discussing that, what keeps us on track. So what do you have
Yeah.
for ideas?
Well, I used to do New Year's resolutions,
Mhm.
and like most people, they last for 2 weeks and then you don't do it anymore.
Mm,
So I decided this year that I wasn't even going to try.
mhm.
What I was going to do was a New Year's mantra, which I do every year. And that seems to stick for me because it's something that the universe gives me that I can grab hold of and grow with. I don't even all the time know what it means at
Mhm.
first. This year I did, but in other years I don't. So my New Year's mantra this year is give more, receive more.
Mhm.
And that's kind of making it my mantra and waking up every day with gratitude for
Right.
all that I am, for all that I have, and not looking at the things that I don't have.
Mm.
And as well, I have been over the course of, I probably want to say the last 6 months, have been doing some life changes to go with life chats.
Yeah.
I've been going through some life changes and just trying to make small little choices differently,
Right.
you know, whether it's environmentally, whether it's health wise, whether it's education wise, just
Mhm.
little things
Yeah.
that I can do, like changing one thing at a time. Like, for example, drinking more water.
Yeah.
One little thing that I can incorporate into my life
Yeah.
to do differently.
And that is important, right? Making sure that it's like one little step at a time. Because I think that sometimes we keep joking about how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time. It's like because we try to take on the whole
Yeah.
issue right away, and sometimes that, for me, anyways, that's when I get unmotivated, is trying to take on too much at once.
Yeah. And when you start off, and especially when you start off at New Year's, I
Mhm.
don't know about the rest of you out there in this world, but it seems we're inundated with weight loss videos
Yeah,
and trying new diets. And it's like January is the only time that people decide to eat healthy. I don't think that's true,
right.
but it's certainly the time when it's dumped on us that if you're not trying a new diet in January, there's got to be something wrong with you.
Yeah,
When, you know, it's like I don't have to try those new things in January all the time because
hmm,
I can try in April, I can
right.
try in September, I can
Yeah,
try whenever. Like every day that I make wake up, I can make different choices.
right,
Halfway through the day, I can make different
right.
choices.
Yeah,
It's all about that and not putting so much pressure on myself to do everything all at one time.
right. Yeah,
We don't as everybody who's follows me and listens to me knows, I have a little grandson.
yep.
I don't expect him to be a university
Right,
graduate
right.
now. He's
Yeah,
only 2.
yeah,
He can barely say words. I get excited when he answers the phone and says, "Hiya."
yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
I I think he's brilliant just for that.
Yeah, and that is true, right? And I was talking to one of our mutual friends about that the other day on Monday. And I was saying that, like, when is it that we stop celebrating those quote unquote small things? Those things, like we do stop celebrating those things, and it's kind of sad, right, that we stop celebrating those small things that we do. I know it's also important too, because you did bring up diet, was that our society and culture is very food centered. So sometimes the treats that we would give ourselves or the rewards would have to do with food or with
Yeah.
doing something with food. And that's very hard when you're trying to change your diet, is to like find a new thing that doesn't involve food. Not
Right.
saying like, okay, if I eat really well for a week, then I'll have the ice cream sundae on, on Sunday or something like that. Like
Yeah.
it's very hard to like, when you haven't in the past done something like different. It is
Yeah.
pretty hard. Now, I know that you said your mantra for this year was give more, receive more. Um I had a little, when you said it right now, I had this little idea of like, where have you been seeing the differences, or like, because I'm all about that proponent, like the people who say when you look for things, you'll find them, because that's the way that we are. So it's sort of like before you had a specific car, you didn't realize how many of those cars were in the
Right.
world,
Right.
but you start seeing it. So in the mantras, like saying to give more, receive more, what do you see differently in the world, or what things have you seen in the past few weeks?
Well, in what I do, um, I've received two substantial bonuses
Mm,
from a client where they double paid me on purpose.
wow.
And when I said, "You overpaid me," they said, "Yes, because you don't charge enough for your services."
Right.
Like, and it happened 2 weeks in a row
Yeah.
before I had even told this mantra.
Right.
And, it was just so neat because, like, the first tip that I was given, I had made a decision to give that away.
Yeah.
And I gave it away. And then the very next week, I got it again.
Yeah. Maybe the
So,
universe was telling you.
and I was saying to a friend that I was saying to a friend that I was out with today doing some work. And I said, you can't owe, the universe isn't going to be indebted to me.
Right.
So, as much as I give out of myself, and as many people have told me for my services that I do for the dying and the grieving, that I
Mhm.
don't charge enough. And I don't care because the universe isn't going to allow me to not be given back. The
Mhm.
universe is not going to let me be in a negative.
Right.
So, just because I'm not charging what other people do doesn't mean that I'm not going to be paid, because the
Right.
universe finds ways to give back to me,
Right.
because I fully believe the philosophy that I live by is the universe is indebted to nobody,
Mhm.
and the universe has everything that I need. And just like the sky can open up, and right now in our country it's pouring down snow,
Yeah.
the sky can open up and fund me.
Right.
And I can receive benefits in other ways, and it's all
Mhm.
of what you look at it. As I was saying to this person today, like, I have an office that I don't pay for.
Yeah.
I have a place to meet my clients that there's free coffee,
Mhm.
that I can have the use of an event center if I want to hold an event.
Right.
Those are all ways that, because I give of myself, the universe finds ways to give back to me from
Right.
through other people
Right.
that I couldn't even orchestrate if I had
Yeah.
thought I could.
Right. Right. Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
that whole give more, receive more, how it happens, it's not my responsibility.
Yeah.
I just have to follow the leading of my own heart when it comes to giving and doing.
And so I'm just, because of what I've been doing for January, which was I did my Miracle Magnet Moments with that series, but I also have my Say Yes series that I'm doing for
Hmm.
January 2024, where I've said yes to the nudges and to the kind of the receiving messages. Is that how you figure out what you're going to give, where you're going to give, how you're going to give, that kind of thing? Is that where it comes from?
It's just like an internal thing, that happens. Like, I could be anywhere and it would happen that an opportunity comes for me to either give of my services or give of my tip money, for example, when the universe said, I want you to give away your tip money, and okay, I'll give away my tip money, and we'll doesn't matter. I'm not even thinking of the outcome. I'm not even thinking of anything other than what I'm doing. It's it just comes from deep within my soul. And it's kind of like you had said, my soul says yes.
Mhm.
Sometimes it may be giving money to a homeless person. I don't give money every time somebody asks me for money,
Right.
but there are times that yes, I do.
Right.
And I remember one time that I was out for lunch with a friend of mine. And when I went to go and pick up a package that I had to get, there was somebody sitting by the door. And my internal nudging said, give them $20.
Mhm.
And I tell you, when I did, the look on their face was the same as if somebody gave me $1 million.
Right.
So sometimes when we give little, it's much to
Right.
someone else,
Yeah.
and that's where, like I said to you earlier when we were talking today, I live in a place of gratitude, and I can honestly say that I live in a place of privilege.
Mhm.
And because of my privilege, I feel it's also my duty
Mhm.
to support and give to other people,
Right.
whether it's just with kindness,
Mhm.
whether it's with more.
Right. And I was gonna say that too. I know that you aren't just giving financially, there's also other ways. And so for anybody out there, listeners and stuff too, who can't do financial at this
Yeah.
moment, at this time, just know that even a smile to a stranger can mean so much. Like there are stories, and I'm about to tear up just thinking about these stories that I've heard where people have said that it was their darkest days and they were thinking of harming themselves, and somebody just looked at them, smiled, or gave them a kind thing, and it just changed their entire outlook. It just
Hmm.
changed their entire view of the world, and to know that some stranger cared about them. And so sometimes I think we forget to do that. We get too busy and caught up in our own little worlds that we
Yeah.
forget that we can be of service to other people, and even what we consider the smallest way can be the biggest to
Yeah.
somebody else.
Because that's the truth.
Yeah.
We don't know at any given time what somebody else is going through.
Mhm.
And, we can all give something.
Right.
You don't have to be coming from a place of privilege to be able to give something.
Right.
You can give something if you're the poorest person on the planet.
Mhm.
You can give kindness.
Yeah.
You can lend a hand.
You can give gratitude. You can
There's
still give
so
gratitude.
many
There's
ways.
still so
There are
many.
there are so many ways. And as I say with my mantra, give more, receive more. The more
Right.
you give, the more that comes back to you
Mhm.
in so many different ways.
Mhm.
In so many different ways. Like, there's not even enough time on this podcast to tell you of all the ways that I have been blessed and the
Mhm.
way that my life is blessed.
Yes.
It's like I can't even put it into words.
Yeah. But I mean, it's
And
also because you look for the things in your life to be give gratitude for. Because like in any situation we can do where we can look for the negatives or the positives, right? We in any
mhm,
situation. And so I do think that it's important to just kind of appreciate yourself too, that you are looking for the things to be appreciative of in your life, and to give gratitude for, and be able to look at those things that way as well.
yeah,
Right.
and it's the same way that you and I've talked before. And I said, I give thanks, and this is how I pick myself up when I'm down,
Mhm.
is I give gratitude for what I am, not for what I'm not.
Right.
Yeah. Maybe there's things that I would like to change in my life. There's a lot of things I'd like to change in my life.
Mhm.
For example, I'd like to be, maybe 100 pounds less than I am,
Yeah.
but I don't focus on that.
Right.
I focus on what I am.
Hmm.
And the more that we give gratitude for what we are instead of what we are not, the more we become happy with what we are.
Right.
And the more we give gratitude for what we have instead of what we do not have, the more we are thankful for what we have, whether it's financially, whether it's relationship wise, whether it's our home or our lack of a home,
Hmm.
you know, the more that we live in gratitude for what we are, the more we see gratitude in what we are.
For sure. I was going to say, the more that you give the gratitude, the more you receive just by being shown from the universe the other spaces where
Yeah.
you are, blessed in your life as well. And
Yeah.
so that's really important. I really like that.
So, how do you pick yourself up, Money?
Well, there a lot of the stuff, like for picking myself up, I we talked about this too, is sometimes letting myself off the hook, like not giving myself such a strict boundary of, like, if I try something and I do it for a few days, and it just isn't working for me, or maybe it's not the time, right? So, like, my
Yeah.
mind might say, hey, let's start on this project right now, and then I do it a few days and it's like, oh, but also, like, kind of just giving myself a break. So, like, in the past I have done, started diets or an exercise routine to try to help myself a little bit physically, even meditation. We were talking about that, doing meditation. And so say I had a goal of, like, I'm going to do 20 minutes meditation every day in the morning when I woke up. And one day maybe I forgot, I got distracted, I woke up late, whatever the case may be, but there was something that didn't happen. And so I would be like, that's it. I can't, like, I can't
I
do
can't
it.
do it.
I'm not done. I'm done. I'm not going to do it. And it's like, oh, okay. But, like, instead of doing it like that, instead of kind of, beating myself up for it internally and, with my mind chatter, I would be like, hey, you know what? You did it for 2 minutes, or you know what? You did it yesterday. That's fine. You still got tomorrow. Like, those kind of things. So kind of changing my negative self-talk and kind of putting someone else, as if I was talking to someone else
Yeah.
instead, and how I could be that supportive friend. Because let me tell you, if I had a person who was supporting me in that way, that was telling me, well, that was awful, you didn't do it, da, 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 I probably would stop going to them for support to,
Yep.
to help me out. So that's kind of what I do for myself, is try to become, for me, the supportive friend that I am for other people.
Yeah.
And do that kind of thing, and
Yeah.
know that.
It's the same thing that I tell my clients who are practicing doing meditation or wanting
Mhm.
to try it, but they don't feel that they can. I always tell them, start off with little bits,
Yeah.
you know, start off maybe while you're doing the dishes,
Yeah.
while you're brushing your teeth, something that you do all the time. Even, for
Yeah.
example, peeing. We
Yeah.
all pee. Start by meditating when you pee.
Yeah.
You
Instead of
know,
sitting on my
it's
phone and going through TikTok or Facebook.
just start then. Like, start small in little things that you do every day. Like, for me, I always meditate when I'm in the shower,
Right.
and spirit speaks to me while I'm in the shower, because that's just become my habit of, this is what I do now when I'm in the shower. It's like an open connection.
Yeah.
And, I do the Ho'oponopono prayer that
Hmm.
sends anything I don't need down the drain,
Yeah.
and anything that I do want can come in and freely come in. I don't shower for 25 minutes.
Yeah.
I go in and do the stuff and I'm out. Same as when you wash your dishes. You don't do
Yeah.
that for
And
hours. You
it's
do
so
it for the
funny you're
amount of
talking
time.
about these things, because water is very important in ceremony of many cultures. And
Hmm.
water is a very important thing. So to be doing these things in water is, but I will say that I know, like, with you, you were very good at meditating, guided meditation, when we first met, and you would even lead meditation. Now I know that you did practice to get to that point. So I don't know how, if you were always good at meditation, but from when
Yeah.
I had known you, you were. But I remember what helped me a lot, because I um I was kind of hard on myself when in the past there, but I've been learning more about what meditation is, what it means, where it can be done, how it can be done, all of those kind of things, to, like, let myself off the hook. The biggest one, though, I think, is actually, you helped me with this. And I don't think I've ever said this to you before, is that you said what you used to say. It was when you would breathe in, you would say, I am. And as you would breathe out, at peace. And just doing that, even just saying that to myself 3 times and done. So that's like,
Yeah.
it's 15 seconds, 10 seconds, like is not a lot of time. But that was also helpful. It was just a way to like mindfully connect to the now moment, which is the most important thing. Doesn't have to be done when I'm in a highly emotional state. I could just
Yeah.
be watching a TV show or sitting in a meeting or driving in a car or whatever the case may be, and just do those breathing. And it
But
was
even when you are in a highly emotional state,
Mhm.
and that's when I learned to do those little tiny meditations,
Right.
because when I'm in a highly emotional state, I can't meditate.
Yeah.
My mind's going like this,
Yeah.
like a zoo.
Hmm.
Like you can't do that. And, but I can breathe
Right.
because I do that anyway.
Yeah.
So no matter how emotional I am, even if I'm in the middle of an anxiety attack or something like that, I can still breathe
Hmm.
because breathing is what we do.
Right.
So that's when I actually learned that 4-second meditation,
Yeah.
because I am is pronouncing who I am.
Hmm.
And what I need is the last sentence, the breathing in. I am at peace.
Yeah.
I am safe. You
Yeah.
can make that word whatever you need it to
Right.
be, the last bit, whatever you need it to be.
Mhm.
And we all breathe.
Yep.
If we don't, you're not watching this podcast.
For sure.
And but we get programmed that unless we can sit on a yoga mat with our legs crossed
Right.
for an hour and a
And
half
with no
with
thoughts
nothing
coming in
going
our head.
through our
Yeah.
head, well, I tell you, it takes a long time before you can sit on a mat for an hour and nothing goes through your
Right.
head.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
You have to continually bring yourself back to the present.
Those and it's funny because I made the connection just now whenever I talk about like spiritual things or for other things, and I say, everybody can run but not everybody's in the Olympics. It's the same thing with we try to attain the people who sit for an hour with zero thoughts going through their head and sit completely still. That's the Olympian. That's the person that has practiced to get there. Yes, we see that result. Yes, that could be our goal. Sure, that's great. That it's like the baby thing. We're not expecting a baby to start running in the Olympics when they've taken their first step. So it's like the same. Let ourselves on the hook. I love how our stuff always comes back around to the circle.
It's
It's
like our
just
logo keeps coming
yeah,
around
coming
with little
around.
things. Hey, I'm
Yeah,
just looking at that now with little things sprouting off of the logo.
yeah,
That's kind of like us. It always comes around.
it comes around,
And
but we have little. Oh wow, that's just so cool.
yeah, so that's kind of it today for today. Like give yourself a break
Yeah. And start again if you need to start again, and let yourself off the hook if you need to do that, whatever the case may be.
and be the friend you are to other people, as
Yeah.
Bunny said. Be that. So there's all kinds of ways that you can pick yourself up,
Hmm.
start over.
Yeah.
And if this year hasn't started out the way you thought it would, so what?
Yeah. And if you're hearing this in February or March or June or whatever the case may be, the message is still the same, right? You can always
Yeah.
start again. You can always start anew. And starting like now is the most important moment. And so give yourself a break. I think that's
And
my
every
biggest thing.
second we have a new now.
Hmm. Yeah.
That's the neat thing about mindfulness. Every second it's a new now.
Yep. That's awesome.
So that's it for today, Bunny. How do people find us?
So, of course, you can find us we do post onto Facebook, YouTube, and Spotify and everywhere else where you can get your podcasts every Monday at 11 a.m. And then you can also go to our website at aboveandbeyond.com or email us at aboveandbeyond@gmail.com. That's it for me.
Thank goodness that you do that every time. Bye, everybody. Have a great
Bye.
day.
Bye.